Food security, lack of employment opportunities, poor land management and ownership challenges, environmental degradation, and climate change. So the first four Ministries of Industrialization, Environment, Agriculture, and Lands kicking off the briefing today by the Jubilee administration that seeks to adopt an open-door policy on how government operations work.
This cluster has between them approximately 120 billion shillings of development expenditure that is planned for next year. Of course, that is subject to the parliamentary approval and the necessary budget approval process that it has to go through. That where one ministry ends, the other one picks up in making sure that we drive a very strong and aggressive agenda.
And with this, each one of them stated what has been achieved so far.
I will not be wanting to say to you we have a record of the number of people that have been employed in the last few months or the last 12 months, but it's important to say that the commitment around creating the 30% procurement process is geared towards supporting these small and medium-sized businesses.
We have a water bill which was out of the government printers on March 17th and will now be ready for debate in Parliament. When it comes to the forest policy, this will soon be summarized and again ready for debate in Parliament, and the same goes for our MCA Act on the environment. So
we started on a very ambitious program from August last year. That program made us realize that there was a huge number of title deeds countrywide. So now it is fairly ambitious to 3 million titles. This year alone, we will issue 1 million titles.
Did a complete drafting of a fisheries bill, which is before Parliament and which intends to help us in optimizing utilization and access to fisheries and sea resources that we otherwise have not quite utilized.
For Industrialization Cabinet Secretary Adan Mohamed, high cost of production is standing in the way of government initiatives that could help in generating more jobs for the youth and attracting foreign direct investment. He said plans are underway to ensure that at least 200,000 jobs are created in the textile sector.
And that is why we want to focus on segments that has a high chance of labor absorption rates.
Environment Cabinet Secretary Professor Judy Wahungu said her ministry is facing serious challenges in dealing with the runaway poaching that has seen elephants and rhinos failed for their tusks and horns. She, however, noted that her ministry had received 400 million shillings that will help in increasing surveillance to aid in curbing the wanton slaughter of wildlife.
There's night vision that the poachers have. What we're doing even as we speak is equipping our rangers with sophisticated equipment. We are also increasing the number of rangers on the ground. We are also looking in terms of our own institutions and our own personnel to see where we have weaknesses.
Lands Principal Secretary Mariam Omar challenged Parliament to come up with the requisite legislation to operationalize constitutional provisions. She noted that government is also looking at modalities that will enable the Ministry of Lands conduct faster land adjudication and issuance of title deeds.
It takes time to be able to shift from an old law to a new one and to be able to fully understand what this old law is describing. You must also appreciate that sometimes it does not give us the instruments, and that is where the regulations need to come in. Because to be able to implement any part of the Constitution and the Act, and thereafter the regulations when we finalize them, would be able to also design the right kind of instruments with which to work with.
The Ministry of Agriculture is also working on ways of reducing the cost of production to enable the realization of high agricultural productivity.
I've done a land use mapping, and currently we are certain that the area is suitable for a combination of crops, from maize to horticulture to sugar.
The briefing merely dwelt on future plans and not much of what government has done in its 1 year in office. Judith Akolo, Channel 1 News Hour.